Pakistani politics is looking in a pretty shocking state right now. You've had protests, terror threats, you've got a front runner in jail. Do you think it's at breaking point?
I think that to an outsider it may look shocking, but unfortunately this is nothing new for Pakistani politics. What I'm campaigning on is to try and bring a change to what I think has led to a lot of the younger generation of Pakistanis, 65% of our population under the age of 30. And they're very disenchanted by the status quo, the way that Pakistani politics has been running now for not just this election, but many elections preceding it.
You say people feel disenchanted, they also feel disenfranchised. You've got Imran Khan, who the polls say is the most popular politician in Pakistan, behind bars, lots of PTI candidates also jailed. Can you have any faith that these are going to be free and fair elections?
As far as polls are concerned, the only polls that matter are election day. As far as being behind bars is concerned, unfortunately, when Mr. Khan was in power, he rather relished having his political opposition of all stripes in prison. Quite actively would campaign on how he was going to send everyone in prison. Not just his political opponents, but his political opponents' daughters, his political opponents' sisters were arrested. At that time also, I had pleaded with Mr. Khan that this is not the sort of politics that we want to see in Pakistan.
How confident are you that these will be free and fair elections?
I'm hoping that they will be as free and fair as they can be, and now we have only a couple of days left remaining. And as you said, there's been a lot of criticism on these process. I'm hoping that all the criticism that needs to have happened has happened.
The military looks more powerful than ever, and they reportedly want Sharif at the top. Do you recognise that?
As far as the current situation is concerned, I'm sure Mr. Sharif himself and his party are trying to give this impression that they're the favoured son and it is inevitable they're to become Prime Minister, and they're hoping that that's a strong enough campaign to get them elected. As far as the Pakistan military's role in Pakistani politics, as I mentioned historically, we've had 50% of our country's history is in direct dictatorship, and in the Pakistan People's Party has consistently campaigned now for 3 generations to have what we call the establishment, the military, the judiciary, the bureaucracy, to function within their constitutional domain. We have to get rid of this populist extremist politics if we want other institutions to start functioning in their domain. I don't believe that this is a switch that will be turned off and on overnight. I don't believe that this is sort of a revolution that will happen all at once. It's an evolutionary process. The first step has to be our truth and reconciliation, and for politicians to get their own house in order before we start expecting others to get their house in order.
The terror threat in the country is significant at the moment. How worried are you for your own safety?
Obviously there's challenges as far as security is concerned. My candidates have been attacked. No less than 9 candidates in Balochistan have had separate grenade attacks on their offices or on their houses. Obviously, every election in Pakistan, we have to take certain amounts of risk. I would say that at this point in time, I feel relatively secure compared to perhaps previous elections where the terrorist threat was more aggressive.
What about your relationship with those turbulent neighbours, India, Afghanistan, Iran? How are you going to resolve some of those conflicts?
Well, I don't think that's obviously certainly not something easy, but I can share with you what my hopes are, what my dreams are, what I'd like to achieve. I don't believe that Pakistan can afford to be in a position where we only talk, trade and engage with one of our neighbours. And 3 of our neighbours, Afghanistan, India and Iran, we don't have that sort of commercial engagement, that sort of diplomatic engagement, that sort of progress that one should see. In the modern times now, countries don't grow economically just on their own. An entire region progresses together. I do hope that I'm able to engage diplomatically, create the consensus within Pakistan that allows us to engage diplomatically with all of our neighbours,
Would we see a closer relationship with America under your leadership?
I do certainly believe that Pakistan can't afford to disengage with the world, and we must engage with the West. We must engage with America. We must counter the misperceptions that do exist. We must create convergences of interests. For example, Pakistan faces a serious threat of climate change. The sort of third largest collection of snow and ice in the world, after the North and the South Polar and the Himalayan regions of Pakistan. 250 million people first face this threat of consistent flooding, perpetual flooding, and then perpetual drought. We can't face this challenge alone. I believe that this is one of many issues that we should not only work with our regional partners, but international partners in the West as well.